Hello, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the J Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Joshua Nowakowski, bringing you a very, very special episode today. It is officially March Madness season. The March Madness tournament round of 64 starts tomorrow morning. The first four games were played today. And so today, I am bringing you March Madness predictions, and I'm going to be filling out my official bracket tonight. I wanted to get this episode out earlier in the week, but the first four games really, really intrigued me. Mainly because they had implications on who I picked. Actually, they most of the years they don't matter. This year they actually mattered. There really is just one game in particular, but it did matter. So I had to wait. Anyways, if you're watching on YouTube, I'm using StreamYard again. Check it out. I'm really liking the StreamYard. I'm also not wearing a hat. I got a haircut, so I'm not wearing a hat. Also, repping the UConn jersey. Kemba Walker UConn jersey. I'm going to do my best not to have a bias. I will say just before I fill out my bracket, my favorite teams going into the bracket, not like favorites to win or whatever, because you'll find that out as I talk about it. My personal favorite teams that I enjoy to watch, UConn and Ohio State. If you know me, those are my teams. So I'm going to do my best not to have bias. I really am. But we're all human. So if I have some bias, oh well. But so I'm going to be filling out my official bracket, and I'm going to be breaking down a lot of the games. So the way it's going to go is I'm going to look at each game. If I feel like there's stuff to be talked about, I'll talk about it. If there isn't, I'm going to move on. Simple as that. I'm just going to move on. So also, I know there's NFL free agency news. I know a lot of that stuff has been going on. But I'm going to have that. Actually, I'm going to do an episode tomorrow with a couple of guests, and we're going to break down some NFL free agency signings. We're going to do all of that. I'm going to put that out on a podcast. I'm going to record that tomorrow. So I'm recording this now. I'm going to put it up as soon as possible. So it's probably going to go up at like 1, 2 in the morning on Friday morning. But I need to get my bracket done before March Madness starts. So I am going to screen share, and I'm going to fill out my bracket and break down my favorite picks for March Madness. So let me just screen share this. Okay. I like that. You can still see me, and you can see my bracket. That is perfect. That is good. Okay. I like that. If you're not watching on YouTube, I'm going to do my best to explain where I'm at in the bracket and stuff. So you guys, for my Spotify listeners, you guys can still hear. So without further ado, let's start filling out my bracket. Okay, so as you can see, this is my official bracket for my group. My group, J Sports. If you enter in this group and you win a $25 gift card of your choice that I will buy for you. It is free. So if you haven't joined yet, join before the tournament starts. That's all I'll say. So we're going to just fill because the way the tournament, so we have the West and the South up top, and then the bottom is going to be the East and the Midwest. So I'm going to start with, I'm just going to go round by round. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do the round of 64 for all the teams, then the round of 32, Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final 4, National Championship game. Sound good? Sound good. Awesome. I'm so excited. So I'm just going to say going into this, I normally don't do a ton of research. I do some research on March Madness. This year, I feel like I did a lot more than normal. I really do. I listened to a couple hours worth of podcasts on breakdowns of teams. I've done my own research, read plenty of articles, and have my own input. So for those games, I will talk about those. But if it's a game that's not important, I'm not going to talk about those. Let's start. Okay, Gonzaga, Norfolk State. Okay, 16-1. Okay, I'm not going to talk. When I need to talk about Gonzaga, I will talk about Gonzaga and how good they are. So, now the next game, Oklahoma, Missouri. Now, I have my notes. I got my little notepad on my phone that I took for notes because I knew I would not be able to remember all of this information. But this game is very intriguing to me, Oklahoma versus Missouri, because both have had okay seasons, and both have beaten very good teams. Now, I know that sounds very weird, but it's very, very true. I'm just pulling up my notes here. Oklahoma. So let's also do this for the games. I'm just going to pull up the little information. Boop, boop. Cool. Okay. Oklahoma 15-10, Missouri 16-9. Opponents points per game. Oklahoma's a lot averaging, giving up almost 70 points a game while scoring 74. Missouri giving up 72, but scoring 70, almost 74 a game. Versus top 25 opponents. This is something I really do look at. Oklahoma 5-7, Missouri 4-2. Conference play, and then let's see. Can we scroll down? Notable results. Okay, so here we go. They beat Alabama by 5. They beat Kansas once. They lost to Baylor, lost to Texas Tech twice, beat West Virginia twice, beat Texas once, lost to Oklahoma State twice. And now Missouri. Holy cow. They beat Illinois. They beat Alabama. They've beaten Arkansas. They've beaten Tennessee. They lost by 6 to LSU. They beat Florida, and they beat Oregon. They lost to Ole Miss twice, though, and Ole Miss just missed the tournament. I also have my own notes that I did here. So here are my notes. This is what I have about these two teams. So Oklahoma, they are 1-5 in their last 6 games, but like I said, wins against Alabama, Texas, and West Virginia twice. Missouri, they have wins against the Illinois, Oregon, Arkansas, Tennessee, and Alabama, and they have I don't know the record, but it's better than 1-5 in their last 6. Both teams have notable wins, but in March Madness, you have to look at the hot team as well. Oklahoma 1-5 in their last 6. I don't like that. I'm taking Missouri. I guess it's the upset because they're the 9 seed. So first upset is right there. Missouri over Oklahoma. Next game, Creighton UCSB. Now, I forgot to mention this when I started filling up my bracket. The most college basketball I watched came in was Big Ten and the Big East. Those are the conferences I feel very strong about my predictions and how I know and grade these teams. I feel very confident in those teams. So those are the teams I feel the most confident in when I pick them for their results. Now, Creighton has had some really, really bad losses. 3-2 versus top 25. UCSB hasn't played a top 25 team. Interesting. But UCSB hasn't lost since like December 28th. And Creighton, so here's what I have about Creighton and the research I have done and what I've actually seen on the court from Creighton. They have lost to 3 teams this year ranked worse than UCSB. So this BPI ranking that you see, Creighton has lost 3 games to teams BPI graded worse than UCSB. Now, UCSB is a very, very interesting team. They are a very balanced team, but they lean more towards their offense than their defense. But their defensive strength is stopping the 3-point shooting, which is Creighton's strength. And like I said, UCSB, their one loss, they've lost one since December 28th. One time since December 28th. UCSB's strength on defense is stopping the 3. Creighton's strength is shooting the 3. Creighton did not look good in the Big East tournament. They got blown out by Georgetown in the championship and almost lost to UConn in the semifinals. Probably should have lost. I'm still bitter about it. Oh well, whatever. So I have UCSB with the upset. The West, you will see I have more upsets, I guess, at the top half of the West. Next matchup, Virginia versus Ohio. This is interesting. This is very, very interesting, and this game intrigues me a lot. Normally, I would say Virginia. This would be a Virginia, no doubt in my mind. But Virginia's had COVID problems. They had to pull out of the out of the tournament, not the tournament. They had to out of their conference tournament. Sorry. So they had to pull out of the ACC tournament. And they arrive tomorrow and will get one practice in tomorrow night before playing this game. Nobody knows really what pieces will be out and what pieces won't be yet because, again, they haven't arrived. But they're only getting in one practice this week. Now, Ohio, Jason Preston. That's all you got to know about them is Jason Preston. Also, and versus top 25, 0-1. That one loss was to Illinois, who they played till the very end of that game. Also, they average about 80 points a game. So they like to score. Virginia doesn't score as much. They are more defensive heavy. I like an upset here again. I like Ohio. I really do. Jason Preston, he's like the LaMelo Ball of this tournament. He is one of the big guys. I'm going to mention another one who I have going farther than Ohio in my tournament, but I have Ohio upsetting Virginia. So far I have three upsets in the first 4 games in the West. Next, USC and Drake. Pac-12, I didn't watch a lot of. USC, they have Evan Mobley, who's an absolute beast, a lottery pick. This Drake team, I watched them in the first 4 game today, played a tough game. Also, okay, so the first 4 games, I guess I should go over those to let you guys know who won, even though you'll see as I get to my bracket who won. So first, let me go over those. And the first 4 games were actually all really good today. They were really close. So first this was a battle for the 16 seed. Mount St. Mary's lost to Texas Southern 60-52. Drake beat Wichita State 53-52. Wichita State had a chance to win at the buzzer, missed a 3-pointer. And that's for an 11 seed. For the 16 seed, Norfolk State beat Appalachian State 54-53. And I have them obviously losing to Gonzaga. And then this was the game that I really need to see was UCLA-Michigan. UCLA wins 86-80 in overtime, but they did have they had one of their players go down. I'm sorry. Let me get the name real quick. Let me see. I'm trying to get the name of the UCLA player that got hurt. It was late in the game in overtime. I'm sorry. I'm trying to find out the name. So they're going to... All right, I can't find the name. One of their starters got hurt, and I have a very good source and friend, George Martin, says it could be an issue if he doesn't play, if he doesn't come back. I think it was Jamie Jacques. I think that was his name. Sorry if I butchered that. Oh, well. Okay, so those were the games. So Drake won. They're playing USC on Saturday. I really like this USC team. I like this USC team. I have them moving on. Kansas, Eastern Washington. Normally, I would not look at this game and go, oh, ups. I would just look Kansas right away. This is not the case. Kansas has COVID issues. Actually, pretty significant COVID issues, actually. So, here are my notes about Kansas. They're going to be missing their best rebounder, Jason Wilson, for the first round. And also missing reserve Tristan Enwara. No. He's a bench guard forward that they're going to be missing. David McDormick, he's their best scorer, second best rebounder on the team. He's arriving tomorrow for a practice, hoping to play. So if they're missing David, this is an upset. I would really highly put this as an upset. But since I don't know yet, I have a feeling he's going to go. I'm going to pick Kansas. It's going to be a closer game than you think, though. Then next, Oregon VCU. A lot of people have VCU. I really like this Oregon team. Oregon, I'm looking at the BPI ranking, how they, looking at this team, looking at some notable results from Oregon. They lost to Oregon State in the Pac-12 tournament, but before that, they had won 11 of their last 12. VCU is always a team on upset alert to get upsets in the tournament. I don't see it happening. Oregon moving on. Iowa versus Grand Canyon. There's no notes here. Iowa wins. All right. Now we're going to the South. Baylor, Hartford. Again, no notes. Now, North Carolina, Wisconsin. You'll notice no Duke, no Kentucky in the tournament. North Carolina, very up and down season, but they've seemed to be better as of late. Wisconsin, I believe, has lost 6 of their last 8 games. I'm going with the hot hand here. I'm gonna have North Carolina moving on. Next, we have Villanova and with Winthrop. Now, 5-12 game. Villanova, I wouldn't. So I'm taking the upset here. Villanova is missing Colin Gillespie, their best player. He is their best player on their team. And they're missing him. So he's going to be out. They're 0-2 without him. So I have the upset here also. If we look at Winthrop, they did very well in their conference play, 23-1. I don't care what conference you play in. If you go 23-1, you are doing something right. And you're averaging almost 80 points a game. So your offense is damn good. And you're only giving up 67. I know it's in a weaker conference. I do not care if it isn't in a weaker conference. This team is very, very good. But wow, looking at this, a lot of people have Villanova. I do not. I have Winthrop winning this game. I'm going to bring up some other stats about Winthrop also. I'm not just going to look at the BPI ranking and all of that. But Villanova, they're missing their best player. Now, for Winthrop, looking at them as a 12 seed, scoring almost 80 points a game. So you're going, hey, that's pretty good. Yeah, it's really good. And I'm trying to find the stat here. If I remember correctly, they shot very good from 3. Yeah. They shoot okay from 3. Winthrop, they have very fast pace. They like to go up and down the court. And they average 11 offensive rebounds a game, tied for 18th in the nation. So they like to get big rebounds. Villanova, I don't think they have the bodies for Winthrop. I am taking the upset. Another 12 seed over a 5 seed. Winthrop moving on. Purdue, North Texas. A lot of people like this North Texas team. I personally do not. The Big Ten was easily the best conference in the NCAA this year. I think Purdue wins actually quite easily. This is a good game. Texas Tech and Utah State. This is an intriguing game for me. You got Matt McClung, TCU. You got Utah State, known for shot blocking and big bodies. Utah State beat San Diego State twice this year. So 7-foot junior Nehemias Queta is a walking double-double. That's what he's averaging. 15 points a game, 10 rebounds a game. This is a very good rebounding team. Texas Tech is going to have to shoot the lights out of the gym if they're going to beat this team. Now, the only reason I say that is because Utah State is such a good rebounding team. And overall, Texas Tech is an okay shooting team. They're good. They're decent. I don't know. Matt McClung, I'm excited to see him in the NCAA tournament, but I'm kind of leaning towards Utah State here. So I'm going to pick Utah State. Next, Arkansas Colgate. This is okay. Colgate 14-1. They missed a lot of games this year. Look at how many points per game they're averaging. 86.3 points per game. Arkansas right there with them. 82 points per game. Now I remember this was the team. This is a game to watch. They shoot. Wow. Okay. They shoot 40% from 3, which is tied for 3rd in the NCAA. 3rd. They shoot a total of 49% from the field. Arkansas is going to have their money's worth. Colgate is a good team. I have Arkansas winning, but I could see an upset here. Florida, Virginia Tech. These two teams have played each other like 3 times in the last couple of weeks. Let me get I believe so. A lot of people do not think Florida deserved the 7 seed. Now, this is the opening game of the first round tomorrow morning at 9:15 a.m. So I'm going to look. So they've played each other quite often this year. So if you look in their schedule, they played, where did they play Florida? Oh, they haven't. I thought they did. My bad. They haven't played Florida yet this year. For some reason, I thought they had. But a lot of people like Virginia Tech. I do too. Looking at the BPI, very close. I don't think Florida is a 7 seed. I believe in Virginia Tech. Ohio State, Oral Roberts. Enough said. Ohio State. Now let's move down to the East. Michigan, I'm going to talk about them later. They will beat Texas Southern. LSU St. Bonaventure. LSU is a sneaky good team. They took the number 2 seed in the East, Alabama. They took them to the brink in the SEC championship game. That game went down to the wire. LSU's a very good team. St. Bonaventure, very balanced. Very, very balanced. They are strong on the defensive end and rank high in rank highly in opponent's field goal percentage. 5 players average double digits. This is going to be a very good game. I do have LSU though sneaking out with a victory. Colorado, Georgetown. A lot of people have Georgetown in the upset. I think people are not talking about Colorado enough. 3-1 versus top 25 teams. Very good BPI ranking. I know they're in the Pac-12. Colorado is still a very solid team. Georgetown. They went on a 4-game win streak to win the Big East. They have a 13-12 record, and it's a great Patrick Ewing story. Oh, it was such a great story, but it ends. Colorado's going to win. Georgetown hasn't won more than 2 games in a row this year until this run they're on, and they're going to lose. Florida State, UNC, Greensboro, Florida State. I like them a lot. Now here we go. BYU, UCLA. Let's look at this. This is an interesting game to me. A lot of people said BYU was ranked way too high. I can kind of agree with that. If this was Michigan State, I would definitely pick the 11 seed. I don't know. I don't know the injury with UCLA's starter. I don't know the situation. So therefore, I don't know who to pick. It makes it tougher for me, but I'm going to take BYU in this situation. Only because of the unknown of UCLA. If Michigan State won this game, I would probably take Michigan State. Texas, and then and ACU, Abilene Christian University. I'm very high on Texas. You will find out that as we go on. UConn and Maryland, a 7-10 game. Now, this is a very good game. BPI ranking, UConn is up there. UConn is a very sneaky good team. Mr. James Bouknight, very good, very solid player. I would watch out for him. I have UConn winning. Alabama, Iona. Rick Pitino returns to the NCAA tournament with another different team. This Alabama team is good and talented. Alabama wins. Illinois, Drexel. Enough said. Illinois. Now, this was going to be a good game. Loyola Chicago and Georgia Tech. But, unfortunately, COVID got to Georgia Tech. And it's so. All right. Where is it with Georgia Tech? What happened to Georgia Tech? Moses Wright, their star player, won't be there. COVID issues. So, Georgia Tech, Loyola Chicago will win. I'll talk more about them against Illinois in a minute. Tennessee, Oregon State. Oregon State got in by winning the Pac-12. Tennessee hasn't won 2 games in a row in over a month. And they haven't beaten 2 teams in this tourney. 2 teams in a row in this turn. That out of all 64, they haven't beaten 2 of them in a row. So I will have Tennessee beating Oregon State. Oklahoma State, Liberty, Cade Cunningham and company against a very good Liberty team. A lot of teams like Liberty. I like Oklahoma State. This is going to be a good game, though. This is going to be a very good game. Liberty is very good. They score a lot, but and they have a very solid defense. But Oregon State's a different team. They have beaten every 3 seed in this bracket. Oklahoma State has beaten. I'm very high on Oklahoma State. I have Oklahoma State moving on and winning. San Diego State versus Syracuse. A lot of people have Syracuse in this game. And I'm sitting there and I'm going, why are a lot? And it's because of their coach, Jim Boeheim. Syracuse is 89th in defensive efficiency. 89th. San Diego State is a very talented, very, very good team. Yeah. San Diego State's a talented team. I have San Diego State moving on. West Virginia, Morehead State. West Virginia, very good team. I have them moving on. Rutgers, Clemson. Rutgers playing in the Big Ten. So they played a lot of tough teams. So don't let that record fool you. Clemson, I'm not so hot about. BPI rankings very similar, very different play styles. These are like two very opposite play styles between these two teams. Rutgers did beat Illinois earlier in the season. And they don't go Rutgers fights. They are such a hard fighting team that they're going to fight until the very end. Rutgers wins. Houston, Cleveland State. Only thing I want to say about Cleveland State, they've been in the tournament 2 other times. First as a 13 seed, they won their first round game. Second time they were a 14 seed, they won their first round game. And now they're a 15 seed. But they do. I think Houston beats them. I'm not as high on Houston as everyone else, but so there are my round of 32 or round of 64. Now we're moving on to the round of 32. First game, Gonzaga, Missouri. This can be a tougher matchup for Gonzaga, but undefeated team. They are the only undefeated team. And also a side note, the last time that there was and last time Duke and Kentucky weren't in the tournament, guess who was in the tournament? Undefeated Indiana State or undefeated, I want to say Indiana or Indiana State. Let me double check on that right now. Hang on. Let me check on that. This time Duke and Kentucky weren't in the tournament. Let me just check on that. Just to make sure. So yeah, they both missed. Yeah. For the first time since 1976. That was when Indiana, not Indiana State, Indiana went undefeated and won it all. So that's a little hint. Gonzaga wins. UCSB, Ohio. This is just going to be such a good game. I hope we get this matchup. Ooh, man, I don't know who I'm going to pick here. Oh, man, this is such a tough game because Ohio, you got Jason Preston. UCSB does just everything right, and they win a lot of games. They know how to win. I'm going to take UCSB. USC, Kansas. I don't know Kansas's COVID issues. I don't know if they'll be cleared up. I'm going to take the upset. I'm going to take Evan Mobley and USC to win this game. Oregon, Iowa. I think Iowa dominates with Luka Garza. And yeah, now we're moving on to the South. Baylor, North Carolina. Baylor wins. Winthrop, Purdue. This is an interesting game in my opinion. Purdue. So I'm looking at this. This is a tough game because Purdue is an interesting team to me. They are a very tall team. Winthrop can be a fast team. That can cause problems for Purdue, in my opinion. I will take Purdue, but it'll be again a close game. Arkansas, Utah State. I have Arkansas advancing. Georgia, Virginia Tech, Ohio State. Ohio State wins with ease, in my opinion, in that matchup. Moving down to the East, Michigan, LSU. This is when we're going to have a 1 seed go down. And here is why. Michigan is missing their star and best player, Isaiah Livers. So Isaiah Livers, he has been with Michigan for a couple of years now. Michigan is 33-9 with Isaiah Livers. They are 6-7 without Isaiah Livers when he doesn't play. Michigan's first game without Isaiah Livers came in the Big Ten tournament, and they lost to Ohio State. I'm picking the upset here. The first number 1 seed goes down. LSU played very good against Alabama. I think they pull off the upset and beat Michigan. Also, Livers is not expected to be back until the Sweet 16 at the very earliest, but it's more likely it's Elite 8 Final 4, but they're not going to get there. They're going to lose in the round of 32 to LSU. Colorado, Florida State, the 5-4. You would think this would be a close game. I really like Florida State. I actually like them a lot. And so Florida State, here's what I have on the notes on Florida State. They switch everything on defense. They cause a ruckus on defense. It is going to be such a pain in the ass for teams to score on Florida State because 1 through 5, they switch everything. and they're very physical. But if you can beat them, it's the turnovers. Florida State is very bad about turning the ball over, but I think they beat Colorado because of that physical defense. BYU, Texas. Texas takes it to BYU. Alabama and UConn. Oh, this is going to be such a good game. It is going to be such a good game. Now, okay. I forgot to say this about Maryland. Maryland, they don't turn the ball over a lot, and they're a tough team. It'll be a tough game against UConn, and Maryland has 3 teams that shoot 44% or better from 3, but I still think UConn wins. Now, here we go about UConn. Going against the spread, they are the best team record-wise in the tournament against the spread. They would obviously not be favored against Alabama. UConn is also ranked 25th in defensive efficiency and 10th in blocks. So they block a lot of shots. Now, Alabama, here's Alabama's strength, and they 40% of their shots are from 3. And they make on average 10 threes a game. So they shoot the 3 ball well. But those 6 losses, if you look at those 6 losses, when they lose those games, they are when they shoot so bad from 3. And UConn closes out well, blocks a lot of shots. I think they disrupt Alabama. I have the upset, maybe a little bit of bias. I don't care. UConn beats Alabama. Now in the Midwest, Illinois, Loyola, Chicago. Now, this is where it's going to be a good game. You know who the number 1 who's the number 1 team in defensive efficiency in Division I college basketball? Loyola Chicago. Number 1. 55.5 points per game, while they score almost 72. Loyola Chicago is going to give Illinois problems. I want to take Loyola Chicago so bad, but Illinois is so good and talented, I think they get past it. But this is going to be a close, good game. Now, Oklahoma State, Tennessee. Now, this is the Oklahoma State I'm going to talk about. You have Cade Cunningham. But, so like I said earlier, they have beaten all the number 3 seeds. And they also beat Baylor, who is a 1 seed. They have beaten some very, very good teams. They've beaten Westford. So, here are all the teams that Oklahoma State has beaten. Alrighty, are you ready? They beat number 1 Baylor once. They've beaten Kansas. They beat Arkansas. They've beaten Texas. They beat Texas Tech twice. They beat West Virginia twice. They beat Oklahoma twice. And when they beat West Virginia twice, one time was without Cade Cunningham, which is, so a lot of teams get this comparison of, Oklahoma State is just Oklahoma from a few years ago when they had Trae Young. I will know they are not that. That Trae Young team barely got into the tournament, and then they lost to Rhode Island, I believe. This is not anything like that. They are more than just Cade Cunningham. Oklahoma State is not overrated. Honestly, they should be a 2 or 3 seed, in my opinion. They have the most quality wins. They have 9 wins against top 25 opponents this year. 9 wins. 9. And they score almost 80 points a game. Their defense needs improvement. Of course, most colleges do. Most college teams do. But this Oklahoma State team is not just Cade Cunningham. They have a lot of other talented players around this team. Oklahoma State, again, Tennessee hasn't won more than 2 games in a row in over a month. Oklahoma State advances. San Diego State, West Virginia. West Virginia has gotten beaten up on. 5-7 versus top 25 teams. Their defense isn't what West Virginia used to pride themselves on defense. They aren't that anymore. San Diego State has a very good defense. I have San Diego State on the upset. Now, Rutgers and Houston. I think Houston will win this fairly easily. So we're on to my Sweet 16 now. And here we go. Gonzaga, UCSB. Gonzaga wins, I think, easily-ish with Jalen Suggs. Iowa and USC. This is going to be a better game than people are saying. Luka Garza versus Evan Mobley. 2 very talented players, 2 very talented teams, but I think Iowa squeaks out the win here. Baylor, Purdue. I have Baylor beating Purdue. I think Baylor is a very good, talented team, but I have them moving on to the Elite 8. Ohio State, Arkansas. This is going to be a very, very good game. Now, here's what I will say about Arkansas in my notes. Or if I hadn't. No. Arkansas, very good offensive team, scores a lot of points. They also give up a lot of points. I like Ohio State coming from a stronger conference, playing better opponents. I think that builds them better for the tournament. Ohio State wins. Moves on to the Elite Eight. LSU, Florida State. I think this is where LSU's magical run ends. FSU being able to switch everything is going to be able to stop FSU. Florida State's going to be able to stop LSU by switching everything on defense, playing that nitty-gritty defense. Now Texas, UConn. This is going to be a very, very good game. Texas, I think they can be the best team in the tournament when they're firing on all cylinders. They have very good guard play from Matt Coleman III, Andrew Jones, and Courtney Raymond, who are all great closers and aren't afraid to take shots in big moments. I think that takes them far in the tournament. Texas beats UConn. Illinois, Oklahoma State. This is going to be very, very, very good game here. Now, Illinois, they did lose to Baylor. They have beat Michigan, and they beat Iowa twice. They beat Ohio State twice. They beat Wisconsin twice. They beat Purdue. They beat Rutgers once. But then they lost to Missouri. Oh, man, this is such a tough game. This is such a tough game. Man, I don't know. This is such a close game. No one's have won all 8 meetings with a 4 seed in the past 5 tournaments, going 6-5. Oh, man. Am I really going to pick Oklahoma State in the Elite 8? I am. Fuck it. Oklahoma State beats Illinois. And San Diego State's going to upset Houston. A lot of people are higher on Houston. I am not. That record, they're in a weak conference. And I know you say, oh, what about Gonzaga? Gonzaga is different than Houston. Though Houston, they beat Texas Tech. They lost to Wichita State. And then it's just a bunch of meh teams. Just a bunch of meh teams because of the conference that they're in. And the seed, wow, that seed fact is crazy. Wow, number 2 seeds have won 21 of the past 23 meetings with the 6th seed. Interesting. I'm going to take the upset, though. Whoop, San Diego State. Now we're on to the Elite 8. Woo! Gonzaga, Iowa. Jalen Suggs and company for Gonzaga. This is a good... Now, some notable results early on in the season. They beat Iowa by 11. They beat Kansas by 12. They beat Virginia by 23. They beat BYU 3 times. And they beat West Virginia by 5. And a lot of people say, oh, the weak conference, don't play good teams. I just listed the number 2, the number 3, and the number 4 seed in the West. And I listed the number 3 seed in the South, I believe. In the South. Or the mid, I think it was in the South. Let me check, hang on. I want to make sure I got my stats right. In the Midwest. In the Midwest. They've played good teams. They're going to stomp Iowa again. Gonzaga onto the Final Four. Baylor, Ohio State. This game intrigues me a lot. Baylor, a lot of teams high on Baylor. 22-2. They their losses came to Kansas and Oklahoma State. Ohio State, I don't know. Is Ohio State a Final Four team? They haven't played too well in the stretch of the regular season, but they got that confidence back in the Big Ten tournament. This is going to be a close, good game, but my gut says Ohio State. There might be bias here, but that's fine. I don't care. Florida State, Texas. Now, this is where the Texas guard play needs to come into play. Because Florida State can switch everything. These guards need to come up clutch for Texas. I think they do. Texas moves on to the Final Four. And the final matchup is going to be Oklahoma State, San Diego State. I think Cade Cunningham and company take care of business. Oklahoma State to the Final Four. So my final four is Gonzaga, Tech in Texas, and Ohio State and Oklahoma State. I'm going to take Gonzaga over Texas in a close, hard-fought game, and give me. Oh man, hang on. I'm going back. I'm changing my pick. I'm changing it to Baylor. I'm changing it to Baylor. And Oklahoma State Baylor. This is going to be a rematch of one of the Big Ten. The Big Ten. Okay, hang on. Oh man, I don't like that though. I don't like that prediction at all. I'm going back. Okay, hang on. I'm going back. Arkansas is going to beat Ohio State. Oh, this is so tough. See, this is what March Madness does to me. It just messes with me. All right, I'm just going to keep it at. Does Purdue upset? No, I don't think they have the. I don't think. I think Baylor will run all over them. Baylor. Okay. I'm gonna have Baylor, Oklahoma State. I'm gonna have Oklahoma State in the finals. Number 4 seed Oklahoma State in the finals. But Gonzaga, Jalen Suggs and company are going to be a bit too much for them. Now, this is going to be a good game, I really think. I hope this is what happens. I really hope this is what happened. So, and Gonzaga is not just Jalen Suggs. Corey Kispert, Drew Timme, and then you have one and done Jalen Suggs. Now, again, the last time Duke and Kentucky missed the tournament, undefeated Indiana won the whole thing. I'm going to take Gonzaga in a high-scoring affair, an 85-79 win for the Zags. So there is my March Madness pick. I am submitting my pick. There is my bracket. That is it right there. There is my pick. Is Gonzaga to win the whole tournament, the whole shebang. And that is going to do it for today's episode. There's my March Madness bracket and predictions. I'm going to get this up ASAP, so you guys can hopefully watch it before the game start at 9 a.m. tomorrow. And I also have some NFL free. I'll have a free agency episode, and on Saturday I'll be doing a round 1 breakdown of all the games, how I did on my picks, and I'll take a look at where the tournament challenge, where my group is at in the tournament challenge, who's leading after the first round. So a lot of fun episodes coming up. If you like this video on YouTube, hit the thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, comment what you think about my bracket, where you think I'm wrong, where you think I'm right. Follow me on Instagram, J_sports_podcast. Be sure to subscribe to me on Spotify, Apple, rate me 5 stars if you enjoy, and reach out to me on Instagram, DM me. I'd love to talk to you guys, drop questions. I'll answer them next episode. I have all these sports banners. If you want a certain one in the background, comment, text me, let me know. I'll put it in the background for you guys. But that's going to do it for today's episode of the J Sports Podcast. Until next time, this has been Joshua Nowakowski. Peace.